Soil and its conservation. Soil is a very important natural resource. It is the topmost layer of the Earth's surface. It is important to all forms of life on Earth. Plants grow in the soil, animals like rabbits, earthworms, and ants live in the soil. Soil contains air, water, sand, and humus. Bacteria and fungi that grow in the soil can prepare medicines like penicillin. Soil can also be used to filter water. Rainwater is filtered and stored as groundwater when it passes through different layers of soil. As a result, it is critical that we take care of our soil. We should not pollute it with garbage or dangerous chemicals. How is soil formed? Millions of years ago, the earth was a rocky and dry land. It had only big rocks. The action of wind and water broke these rocks and some cracks appear. The water fills in the cracks. Expansion and contraction of water due to a change in temperature causes the freezing and thawing of rocks. This broke the rocks into smaller pieces. Wind and water further broke the rock pieces into even more smaller pieces like pebbles. The plants began to grow. Their roots also made the small pebbles into fine soil. When these plants died, they added minerals to the soil. The process of rocks breaking into smaller pieces to pebbles and finally into fine powder due to wind and water is called weathering. Fascinating fact. Soil acts as a filter for underground water and filter out pollutants. You can see the pictures. This is the parent rock. Rocks start to break down. Small plants start to grow. Rotting dead plants and animals mix with weathered rocks to form soil. Gravel. Small stones found in soil are called as gravel. Sand. The largest soil particles are sand particles. Sand is an essential component of the soil. Water can easily drain from these sand particles. Silt. Silt is made up of smaller particles than sand. Silt is a type of soil that stores water and some nutrients for plants. Clay. Clay particles are the tiniest particles in the soil. Clay can store a lot of water for a long period. It is even capable of storing very little amounts of nutrients. Humus. Humus is decomposing plant and animal waste. It nourishes soil, nutrients help plants to grow. Air. Air is present in the gaps between soil particles. This air is used to breathe by the roots of plants and other living organisms in the soil. Water. Soil also contains water that is used by plants. Types of soil. We find different types of soil in different places. There are three main types of soil: sandy, clayey, and loamy. Sand, silt, and clay make up the majority of soils. The amount of silt, sand, and clay in soil determines its color and quality. The ideal soil for plant growth is one in which all three types of particles are present in proper proportions. Sandy soil. Sandy soil contains a large proportion of big sand particles and a very small amount of smaller clay particles. Due to the bigger size, the particles are loosely packed with large air spaces between them. They can hold a lot of air but cannot hold water or nutrients for long. That is why sandy soil is not very good for growing crops. Clayey soil. This type of soil has a greater proportion of very fine clay particles. Due to their very small size, the particles are tightly packed and have very little air space. Clay can hold a lot of water, but the water drains very slowly. So, clayey soil is also not very good for growing crops. Loamy soil. This type of soil contains sand, silt, and clay in well balanced proportions. Silt is deposited by the rivers on the plains when they flow down from the hills. The size of the silt particles lies between sand and clay particles. Loamy soil also has a high humus content. It is amongst the most fertile soils. That is why Farmers and gardeners choose loam to grow crops and other plants. Soil profile. A soil profile shows the different layers of soil. There are three layers of soil. They are topsoil, subsoil, and bedrock. Topsoil. The topsoil is the soil's uppermost layer. It is the soil where plants and trees grow. The topsoil is rich in humus, sand, clay, water, and air. It has fungi and bacteria to keep the process of decaying active. It is several feet deep. Subsoil is the middle layer of the soil. It contains broken pieces of rock. It has minerals which seep down from the topsoil, so roots come down looking for minerals up to the soil. Bedrock. The bottom layer of the soil is called bedrock. It contains large pieces of rock. It is quite deep inside the earth. Soil erosion. Topsoil is the most fertile part of the earth. It is rich in humus as dead plants and animals become part of the topsoil. Strong winds and water wash away loose topsoil eventually to the sea. The removal of rich topsoil by running water and strong winds is called soil erosion. This can happen naturally, but it can also be caused by human activities like deforestation and overgrazing. Deforestation is the process of cutting down a large number of trees from a forest. Soil erosion is increased by deforestation. The earth is held together by the roots of trees. The soil becomes bare when trees are cut down. It becomes dry and loose as a result of the sun's heat. Grasslands are frequently grazed by animals at the same area for a long time, which does not allow the grass to fully regenerate. This is referred to as overgrazing. The soil becomes bare and loose as a result of overgrazing. As a result, the topsoil is easily carried away by the wind and water. Soil conservation. Protecting the soil from being eroded is called conservation of soil. We can conserve soil and check soil erosion in the following ways. We should plant more trees. The roots of the plant bind soil particles together and prevent them from getting eroded. Terrace farming is useful to prevent soil erosion. Terraces on the slope reduce the force of water coming down the slope and prevent the soil from being washed away. The method of farming by making terraces on a hillside is called terrace farming. Constructing dams is another method of conserving soil. We know that floods cause soil erosion. Dams control floods and thus soil erosion is prevented. Overgrazing must be stopped to prevent soil erosion. Overgrazing makes the top layer of the soil loose. Thus, the soil is easily blown or washed away. Plastic, rubber, glass, and metal waste pollute the environment. It harms the quality of soil. We should dispose these waste materials in a proper manner. Let's sum up. Soil is the topmost layer of the Earth's surface. Soil is formed by the weathering of rocks. There are three types of soil: sandy, clayey, and loamy. The removal of the fertile topsoil by the action of water and wind is called soil erosion. We can conserve soil by planting more trees, terrace farming, constructing dams, and stopping overgrazing.